Hello everyone, this is the GoPro Hero 11 Black, and today I want to talk about why I am using it. I want to go into details what this camera can do, all the specs and everything, and then of course in what cases I'm using it, why I bought it, why not use a different camera, and all the accessories I have for it. The GoPro 11 can record up to 5.3K. The sensor got bigger. You have a lens cap that you can take off and put other lenses on, or for example an ND filter that I have here, I will talk about in a second. It has a screen here in the front so you can see yourself, and of course you have a screen here in the back. It has more microphones so the sound should be better. You can get, it's included, but you can get more of the new Enduro battery that should have more capacity and withstand cold better. I have 3 of those. I have lots of mounts for the camera, but I only use 2. Let's talk about why I'm using this camera. Why I'm using action cameras at all. So GoPro after Hero 8 and Hero 11, and I don't use them for action. So I'm not going down the mountain on skis, or I'm using them on the bike. I'm using them because they're extremely easy to use. You can be sure you're in focus. You just put them somewhere and press record. Done. And the other thing is they fit in very tight spaces, and I need that too. So easy and small, that's important. And what I do with them is 4 things. So sometimes I use them for time lapses. It's very easy to just put it on time lapse and film something that takes very long, but you don't want to film in 4K for 2 hours when you can just have a time lapse that takes a picture every 10 seconds. It's just way easier and takes less data, and it looks better too. And you can set, of course, different settings, how fast this time lapse goes. The other things are filming, and for filming I have a few things. Oh, always, if you don't know, I make car videos, electric car videos. One is in the car, here in the middle between the 2 front seats, that films the road, and then more important, the interior while I'm driving. So the infotainment system, what's underneath, my cockpit view, the steering wheel, stuff like this. The only problem that I have, because it's a tiny camera with a tiny sensor, is it's dark in the car sometimes because sun comes from up there, but outside can be very bright, and a good camera like I'm filming right now can do that very well. But a camera like this, then most of the time the inside looks okay, but what is outside is just amazingly bright, and you cannot make out any details. That happens sometimes when the contrast between inside and outside is extreme. Otherwise it's fine. At night it looks okay. It's again a bigger camera with a big sensor is better, but like I said, easy and small. So I use it in here. The second is that I put it with a suction cup on the front windshield, and I film myself while I'm driving, and it's very easy to use because back in the day, the Hero 8 for example, with voice control you can turn it on. The Hero 11 you can't anymore, but when it's on you can start recording with the voice control and turn it off. But I bought the GoPro remote, which is amazing because it connects to both cameras, can turn them both on, start recording on both at the same time, stop recording and turn them both off. And that's awesome. And this thing barely takes any battery, so I can have it on for the whole drive, a few hours, and because you're not pressing the whole time, it doesn't take a lot of battery. Amazing thing. It works really well. And the third Use case, this is where the smallness comes in, is right in front of the cockpit view. So when I'm driving, I have a camera on me to the road, and one for a special driving test, and one that films the cockpit, so the speed and everything. And of course this camera size is perfect for that. I even would like it smaller, but I also want to see. So for example, the Hero Mini, the 11, would be smaller, but there's no screen on it. I would like to see what I'm filming is if everything is in screen. And timestamps for this I need super few, where it because I'm too close to the cockpit, doesn't look amazing. I would love to stay in linear, but it's just too close. That's just the way it is. I only use 2 mounts with it, like I just said. The GoPro Hero 11 Black has those things that they're with a magnet on the bottom, and then you can take them out. And some people say, "Oh, that might break or whatever," but I never do that. I just did this for now for this video. Usually, I always have this here on. This is a mount that I can put it on any tripod, and then I have it on different mounts, like I said, here in the middle, or hanging off a suction cup or whatever. And then I have this mount that came with the GoPro Hero 11, which I have a double sticky Tesa tape that I can take off, by the way. Okay, no, it's good. I have a few of those. I have always 10 or 20 because I need a fresh one each time I put it on something. And this I stick in front of the cockpit, and then the GoPro comes in here. So I take this off and put it on here. That's the only time where I switch. This is the only 2 things I use. And like I said, I have those Enduro batteries, 3 of them that came with, and I have one ND filter, an ND 1000, that I can put on here. If you can take this off very easy, you just turn it, and then you can put the ND filter on. And I use this for a special effect. You can use time-lapse for night, and then that means that when you're driving, it looks a bit more blurry and has a bit more effect. It's not so boring. I use that sometimes. I have this battery door, a different one with a hole, so I can use the USB charge port in here while it's closed. Otherwise, with the original one, this has to be open to be plugged into USB-C if you won't have to charge while using it. The menu is very simple. You just swipe left and right to get from video to photo or time-lapse. If you want your settings, you can go swipe from up, down, and if you want to see what you recorded, you go from down, up. And in your settings, you have 2 pages. One is just your main things that you can turn on. So for example, that you don't hear a sound, beeps on or off. Voice control, I can turn that off, I don't use that anymore. Then we have the preferences, where you have your wireless connection and all of other stuff if you need that. In every mode, so photo, video and time-lapse, you have different presets that of course you can save by yourself, and you can add one, you can delete. And with this you store all of your settings for a shoot. So 4K 24 frames per second, 5.3K 50 frames, and I don't know, all of this stuff. It goes up to, what is the highest thing? Resolution 5.3K goes up to 50 frames per second, 4K goes up to 100 frames per second, 2.7K goes up to 200 frames per second, and that's it. That's it. And you even can have 8:7, not 16:9 if you prefer that. A very cool thing is the lens option, linear plus horizon lock, because this locks your horizon, and even if you turn your camera, you still are recording always always straight with the horizon lock, and that's possible because the sensor is so big. So for example, if I press record here and then I turn it 360 degrees, you saw that it turned, but when you watched the video, it didn't turn at all. And so if this is very important to you because you're doing stuff like this, then you can select that. That's very cool. In time-lapse we have few very nice things. We have of course our night lapse where you can see stars moving, but we also have star trails with 3 settings, how long the trail is, very short, I have an example here, or medium. I never did the long thing because the long looks the same as the medium, but it just never ends, and then after a while it doesn't look good anymore. For me, medium looks amazing, especially when you have the pole star there, so you can see that everything turns around that. That's very, very cool. I like that. You also have time warp, and time warp is very cool because with this you can do hyperlapses. So normal time lapse, you just set up a position and record. You can do motion time lapse but not with the GoPro, but you need for example a gimbal that moves with this time, and then you have a time lapse where the camera is moving. And the third thing is when you are moving with the camera, and that is a hyperlapse. I never used it. I've seen it before and it looks pretty hard. What you're doing is you have to keep the camera as still as possible, and then you're moving, and then you get a time lapse where the camera is going through stuff and everything is moving fast, but you're moving slowly through something, and it looks really cool. I just never had the necessity for it. Yeah, I'm editing the video right now, and I thought of one thing that's really awesome with the GoPro Hero 11 that is crap on the 8. So here on the GoPro 8 is that the GoPro 8, for whatever reason, and as I read it somewhere, it has to do with data safety. So when you film something very long, 30 minutes or so, every 4 GB the 8 cuts and makes a new file. You can put them together in your editing software, but it's just annoying. The GoPro 11 does that too, but with 12 GB. And so I think that's at 4K, 24 frames per second, that's 20 minutes or 25 minutes even. So it's less of a hassle for me, because yes, in Adobe Premiere I can select it all and make it one file nested, but still annoying. It would be nice if it was just one file and done. It's just way easier and one step less I have to work with. And like I said, here it's 12 GB, it's a bit better. So why did I buy the GoPro Hero 11 Black and not a different, for example the Osmo Action 3 from DJI? I had the camera, the Osmo Action 3. I wasn't, what annoyed me was that it didn't have voice control to turn it on. That I need that in the car, but then I got this, and I learned that this can't do it either. But then I got the remote and this does it perfectly. And back in the time I didn't even know that this exists. And I don't know if the Osmo Action has a remote for something, because sometimes my GoPros are while driving are in a position where I can't easily access them, and the GoPro Hero 11 is better to turn on. The button is, you can feel it very nicely, and the pressing it on and off, it works really well. On the 8 it's a bit annoying because you can barely feel it, and then you have to press really hard, and then sometimes the camera moves and then you framed your shot before, and then this is crap. So I love that I can turn it on with a remote. I don't have to touch it. And the record button is the same on both. Works really well. The sound in those two, 8 or 11, doesn't matter. It's not amazing, but they're not made for that, and that's fine. Overall, it seemed better than, so when I got the Osmo Action 3, I wasn't too excited. I filmed something and it looked really, there was a lot of noise in the picture. I got the 11, but I noticed there's noise too, and I don't think there's too much of a difference. So for me, it's just amazing that I have two GoPros and I can interact with both with one remote. If I would have a DJI Action 3 now, I couldn't do that with the same remote. I would need a different remote, and that would be very annoying. Yeah, but that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day and take care. Bye.